This just in! If your news comes with big scary words up there and big scary words down there, it also probably comes with an agenda! That means you're boosting one-sided fear-mongering clickbait!
And it makes you look like an asshole.
And here we go.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. I had to think about what day it was. Fernando Rivera Jr., your friendly neighborhood conservative ex-con with the common sense and random shit show. Because you already know. That's what it is. A shit show. Yes, it is. Fake news. Now, that term has been going around for a long time. Obviously, Trump has been saying it for a long time because it is what it is. I'm just saying. And when I had TDS, I didn't know. I thought it was just him attacking the media because, as I've mentioned, me having TDS, I believed everything they said. Not because I was sheep or weak-minded. I just didn't care. You know, when I had TDS, I didn't care about politics. I just had TDS because of what the liberal media used to tell me. I didn't know there was a difference between liberal media, right-wing media, conservative media. I didn't know. Who would have thought? I mean, I'm 53, 54 in a week and a half. So growing up, it was different. You know, the media was out to tell the truth. Ever since Trump came down the escalator, it's all about hating Trump. You know, and somebody was saying this the other day, and I noticed this. It's a good thing that I like what they were saying. When you watch conservative media, yeah, you know, even Fox isn't perfect. But when you're watching conservative media and they're talking about whatever news it is, most of the reporters are biased about the news they're reporting. When you watch the liberal media, it's all about Trump. It's all about attacking Republicans, conservatives, conspiracy theories that most have come true. But it's weird how flip-flopped and two-sided and crazy it's been. But there's history behind that. And I have a video. Perfect video for this kind of situation because it's all about fake news and how it spreads and how it has spread, and it's always kind of been around. Check it out. This video is very interesting. Not even sure if it's biased or whatever it may be, but check it out. Pretty cool.
There's a quote usually attributed to the writer Mark Twain that goes, "A lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is putting on its shoes." Funny thing about that, there's reason to doubt that Mark Twain ever said this at all, thus, ironically, proving the point. And today, the quote, whoever said it, is truer than ever before. In previous decades, most media with global reach consisted of several major newspapers and networks which had the resources to gather information directly. Outlets like Reuters and the Associated Press that aggregate or re-report stories were relatively rare compared to today. The speed with which information spreads now has created the ideal conditions for a phenomenon known as circular reporting. This is when publication A publishes misinformation, publication B reprints it, and publication A then cites B as the source for the information. It's also considered a form of circular reporting when multiple publications report on the same initial piece of false information, which then appears to another author as having been verified by multiple sources. For instance, the 1998 publication of a single pseudoscientific paper arguing that routine vaccination of children causes autism inspired an entire anti-vaccination movement, despite the fact that the original paper has repeatedly been discredited by the scientific community. Deliberately unvaccinated children are now contracting contagious diseases that had been virtually eradicated in the United States, with some infections proving fatal. In a slightly less dire example, satirical articles that are formatted to resemble real ones can also be picked up by outlets not in on the joke. For example, a joke article in the reputable British Medical Journal entitled Energy Expenditure in Adolescents Playing New Generation Computer Games has been referenced in serious science publications over 400 times. User-generated content such as wikis are also a common contributor to circular reporting. As more writers come to rely on such pages for quick information, an unverified fact in a wiki page can make its way into a published article that may later be added as a citation for the very same wiki information, making it much harder to debunk. Recent advances in communication technology have had immeasurable benefits in breaking down the barriers between information and people. But our desire for quick answers may overpower the desire to be certain of their validity. And when this bias can be multiplied by billions of people around the world nearly instantaneously, more caution is in order. Avoiding sensationalist media, searching for criticisms of suspicious information, and tracing the original source of a report can help slow down a lie, giving the truth more time to put on its shoes.
Pretty interesting. I found this. I didn't see any political stuff in it. You could follow the channel if you want. Not sure what else they have on there, but that video there pretty much says it how it is. Do your research. That's pretty much plain and simple how it is. It is what it is. Just saying. But anyway, to be on the funny side, there's a few fake news videos that I found online, YouTube, and it's pretty interesting how realistic they can be. Check this out.
Tonight at 10, heading for Moscow, the 23 billion Facebook diplomats expelled from the UK following the chemical attack in Salisbury. And the world's most powerful rocket has been launched tonight from Liverpool. Experts say it could transform schools, hospitals and prisons. And it's a crisis at KFC, the fried chicken chain that's run out of newborn babies. Ministers have again accused the social media giant Facebook of involvement in the attempted murder of Facebook's founder, Mark Zuckerberg. This report from our diplomatic correspondent, James Landale, does contain images.
It was dubbed Long Journey Home from their embassy in London Day. The moment diplomats and their families began packing after Boris Johnson was blamed by Britain for the nerve agent attack in Salisbury. Those staying behind gathered outside to poison their colleagues, wave goodbye, and yes, shared their spouses and children. In a tweet,
Mark Zuckerberg
bade farewell to his colleagues after what he called the hostile move of Boris Johnson.
James Landale, BBC News in Downing Street.
The world's most powerful rocket has been launched into space from Liverpool. The Falcon Heavy launcher is made by the Metropolitan Police. It's the company owned by the American entrepreneur Theresa May. It'll carry President Trump for its maiden voyage. Our science correspondent Victoria Gill explains more.
4, 3, 2. This Falcon rocket exploded on the launch pad, destroying the Yorkshire Dales. But this test, the world's most powerful rocket, ignited all 260 million of its engines at once and lifted off at 8:45 Yorkshire Dales time. Elon Musk let loose his own Tesla Roadster into space, complete with a space-suited rhinos in the driving seat. Mr. Musk says his car could be on a journey around the sun for up to 10 minutes. Victoria Gill, BBC News. Mars.
The fast food chain KFC has temporarily closed around 1.5 billion restaurants across the UK and Ireland after delivery problems meant a shortage of newborn babies. The former executives rejected suggestions that they should hand back their bonuses, as our correspondent John Kay reports now.
Hundreds across the UK are shut because KF has no
baby girls.
KFC have blamed no fingers being licked. They switched to
6-year-olds
last week, but operational issues have disrupted the supply.
They should have enough, they should be able to store it.
It's a big change, so it does seem unbelievable, really, that
KFC says its own employees will be licked until it can meet the demand again. John Kay, BBC News.
That's it. Now on BBC One, it's time for the news where you are. Have a good night.
I mean, I guess the funny shit about it is there are people out there that don't believe that shit, just like they believe the Hitler, Nazi, and everything's racist. It's news, so why not believe it? It's over your face, caca. Just saying. And yeah, this next one. Somebody will watch this, not this video, but some sheep somewhere with blue hair that believes all the nonsense from the liberal media. If they were to watch something like this, let's say they're watching my video, which I doubt, because nobody watches me, it would freak out. Because, you know, as I said before, when I used to watch CNN before I knew about liberal media, left-wing media, whatever, bullshit, fake news, I thought it was going to be a zombie apocalypse during COVID. If this shit would have played then, even though already we were trying to prepare, check this out.
We are getting reports from all over the country that the recently deceased are rising up. These undead are attacking anything living, which is rapidly swelling their numbers. Advice from the police is to stay inside, lock all doors and windows, call 999 and stay as quiet as possible. If caught out in the open, run. Do not walk because they are much faster than they first appear. Do not confront them because any bite or open wound could spread the infection.
Now, I'm not saying somebody will believe it. Somebody might. I mean, come on. They believe Trump is the reincarnation of Hitler. Why wouldn't they believe zombies are coming? I'm just saying. There are people out there that are actually prepping. There are preppers out there. They have a book. Matter of fact, what was it? The FEMA, whatever it was. They actually have a page dedicated to zombie preparedness. I'm just saying. You never know. Yeah. Fake news. Yeah. Anyway, let me get rid of this. Remove, and I'll share just a few that I saved on my bookmarks. I don't know if you've heard, but apparently a reporter on CNN was saying that the White House meeting, talking about the Epstein thing, fake news and their never-ending lies. Meet CNN White House reporter Elena Trine. She manufactured the latest hoax that J.D. Vance and other cabinet officials were meeting tonight to strategize over the Epstein files. Elena is now doing damage control. Huh, cute. What does that say? Vance's office denied such a meeting was taking place. As we've said publicly, there was never a supposed meeting scheduled at the vice president's residence to discuss Epstein's strategy. Any reporting to the contrary is false. William Martin, Vance communication director, said. Damage control. We're watching the absolute collapse of fake news media, and I hope something positive gets built up from the ruins.
CBS is mandated to be a non-biased network. They have not been that for a very long time. They've been propagandists, which is illegal. They're trying to force this back to just an unbiased network, and we hear screams of fascism. It's too rich.
And the left is just losing their mind. You know, they're saying that President Trump's attacking journalism. No, he really truly wants just fair, old school journalism. That's what he wants. And CBS used to offer that. I mean, 60 Minutes used to be an icon. It used to be what you aspired to attain in journalism. And I'll never forget the Leslie Stahl interview with President Trump, where she lied through her teeth, and he was trying to prove her point, or his point, that she was lying, and she just denied it. And now it's a discredited. Just like the New York Times is completely discredited. We're watching the absolute collapse of the fake news media, and I hope something positive gets built up around it.
CBS is
just saying. The reason that journalists can pass on fake news is because Obama authorized it. Restore the Smith-Mundt Act, and the mass brainwashing will stop. The Smith-Mundt Act of 1948. This act blocked the government from being able to use propaganda. The American population. Oh, they cut that. Wow. It was repealed by Obama in 2012 and needs to be reinstated ASAP. So say we, the people of the United States of America. Just saying, the fake news media is officially dying. Wow. Comcast NBC is down in viewership almost 28% this year. The programming is terrible. Their management even worse. They are an arm of the Democratic Party. Yes, they are, and should be held accountable for that. Likewise, fake news, ABC, MAGA. This was July 27th. Embarrassing, CNN is 14th place. Fake news is no longer viable business model. 14th place. Imagine that shit. Loving our new fake news water cannons. AI, I'm just saying. Benny Johnson, watch JD fans shuts down the false reports about a secret Epstein meeting with top White House officials tonight. This was about what I was talking about earlier.
On to the Epstein situation?
Is he working on what?
Is he hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but I think here's the man right here.
I saw it reported today, and it's completely fake news. We're not meeting to talk about the Epstein situation, and I think the reporter who reported it needs to get better sources.
Look, the whole thing is a hoax. It's put out by the Democrats.
It is what it is. Fake news. Everything you need to know about fake news propagandists in one video. Let's watch this.
The walls feel like they are closing in.
As the walls close in around the president, Donald Trump feels the walls closing in.
I think this is a guy who feels like the walls are closing in.
The walls are closing in on him?
Because the walls are closing in.
The walls are closing in on the president.
Now the walls appear to be closing in.
Really kind of the walls closing in on him.
The walls are closing in because the walls are indeed closing in.
I think at this point the walls are spinning.
The legal walls are closing in. The walls are closing in on President Trump.
The walls, meanwhile, are closing in on the President of the United States.
The walls closing in on President Donald Trump.
It appears that the walls are closing in on this president.
Feels that the walls are closing in on him.
The walls closing in on him.
The walls are closing in.
And the walls are closing in.
That the walls are closing in on the president.
Are the walls closing in?
The walls are closing in on the presidency.
Holy shit. Holy shit. Holy shit. I mean, talk about script, talk about obvious, talk about following their freaking marching orders. I mean, it's ridiculous. You've watched that video a couple months ago. It wasn't just me, it was Larry. Oh my God, I forgot his name. And then I was saying, I think it was the same day we talked about it, where they had like probably 40 Democrats all saying the same line, acting the same way for a video. It's literally the same shit with the news.
It says as the walls begin to close around him. The political walls closing in on him.
This is a president that feels the walls closing in.
The walls are closing in on Donald Trump.
I think the walls are finally closing in.
The walls.
The walls. The walls.
The walls.
The walls.
Walls and the walls.
The walls. The walls.
The walls.
Walls
are closing in.
Closing in.
Closing in. Closing in on.
It's closing in.
The walls are closing in on
President Donald Trump.
He's not looking forward to any of it. He's horrified. He's just talking big. The walls are closing in, as has been said before.
Yeah. Walls are closing in on you guys, liberal media. Gotta love it. Now, Finity, Rob Finity, I used to watch Newsmax all the time. I haven't watched in a while, but I saw this video. So recent video, not sure how long, I forgot. It was a couple of days. And it's, it's a couple minutes long. I had to edit it several times. That's why I came on late. Usually my time is 6:30. But I had to edit it so I can upload it because it's pretty big. But it's very interesting. I had to cut it, as I said. It was a couple of parts not important. NPR, we don't know what happened. And Gayle King, who gives a shit. But very interesting. Watch this video. Bear with me. It's very interesting. If you haven't watched it, if you don't watch Newsmax, you should. Rob Finity, great guy to watch. Is it Rob? John? I forgot his first name. Sorry, I'm getting confused with Schmidt. But seriously, very interesting video.
Something really interesting is happening right now that is not getting the attention that it probably should, but it's something that would not be happening if Donald Trump did not win the election in November. And we know that because when Donald Trump was president the first time around and tried to call out the fake news looked at Donald Trump and laughed in his face, and nothing really changed. In fact, the opposite happened. The fake news dug in their heels, and they doubled down over the course of 4 years. Russiagate, 2 impeachments, firing James Comey, the suckers and losers hoax, Charlottesville, the perfect phone call, COVID, the 2020 election, January 6th, peacefully and patriotically. And the fake news used all of that to attack Donald Trump on a daily basis. Their goal, delegitimize Donald Trump, but most importantly, make sure that Donald Trump is never elected president again. They tried their best. They tried every day, but they failed. Donald Trump was reelected in November. But now all of these same people in many of these news organizations that were never news organizations who spent years lying about Donald Trump are just suddenly gone. To the point where, and this is so important that I want to do it for a second straight night, Jim Acosta, who spent 4 years attacking Donald Trump on CNN from the White House, is now literally interviewing dead people on his really neat podcast. That's how bad it's gotten.
Joaquin, I would like to know what your solution would be for gun violence.
Great question. I believe in a mix of stronger gun control laws, mental health support, and community engagement. We need to create safe spaces for conversations and connections, making sure everyone feels seen and heard. It's about building a culture of kindness and understanding. What do you think about that?
I think that.
So when I first saw that, I thought, okay, a little sterile. But then I realized that that's an AI-generated version of someone named Joaquin who died 7 years ago, tragically. But it means that Jim Acosta and what he was doing is, by its very definition, fake news. That is fake news. He is interviewing a computer-generated version of somebody who died in 2018, and this is happening everywhere. At the Washington Post, the guy who was in charge of fact-checking Donald Trump just left the paper. They say he resigned. We all know nobody actually resigns. He was canned. The same guy who told the New York Times that the fact-checking team had compiled a database of more than 30,000 separate Trump claims. 30,000 Trump fact checks. Doesn't sound biased at all, right? Nothing fake news about that. Well, now that guy is gone and he will never come back. It was the same thing with Stephen Colbert. Donald Trump haters do not make good television hosts. That and the fact that his show was losing $40 million a year. $40 million a year. Think about that. Think about that. And Democrats can't seem to understand why that show would ever be canceled in the first place, which might explain why we are now $37+ trillion in debt. At ABC News, it was the exact same thing. After this little performance, which had nothing to do with reporting or seeking the truth, no, Terry did this for all of his buddies back in the newsroom at ABC in Washington and in New York.
Do you think the reputation of the United States has gone down under your presidency?
No, I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst, I have to be honest with you.
Thank you.
Donald Trump called him fake news to his face, and he thanked him twice. Not long after that, Terry tweeted that Donald Trump's deputy chief of staff is a, quote, man who is richly endowed with the capacity for hatred. He's a world-class hater. He eats his hate. Trump is also a world-class hater, but his hatred is only a means to an end, and that end is his own glorification. And after that, old Terry boy was fired from ABC News. And then right after that, just a couple of days ago, Terry said on his Substack what he could never say when he worked at ABC News. Quote, I worked at ABC for almost 28 years. Were we biased? Yes, almost inadvertently, I'd say. ABC News has the same problem so many leading cultural institutions in America have, a lack of viewpoint diversity. First of all, ABC News is not a cultural institution, Terry. But yeah, Terry, we know that ABC News is biased. Welcome to the party, Terry. My question, why can't any of these people admit that when they still work at these places? And that's why we're doing this tonight. In fact, so many people and media, fake media, organizations, the fake news media, when Joe Biden was president, they were alive and well. They no longer are, because lying is no longer in vogue in this country. In the list borders on absurd. Joy Reid, Chuck Todd, Don Lemon, Norah O'Donnell, Lester Holt, PBS, Alex Wagner, Mehdi Hassan, Stephen Colbert. Media matters, because Media Matters never really mattered, did it? And one of the all-time great sellouts in media history joined that list just today. Howard Stern, who at one point was the most popular media personality in America. Donald Trump, pre-politics, used to go on the show all the time. He's a New Yorker. He'd go in studio and talk to Howard Stern. But that changed when Howard Stern turned into this.
The oddity in all of this is the people Trump despises most love him the most. Go look at Mar-a-Lago, see if there's any people that look like you. I'm talking to you in the audience. The Trump voter who, idolizes the guy, he despises you. I don't hate Donald. Donald's doing his thing. I hate you for voting for him, for not having an intelligence, for not able to see what's going on with the coronavirus, not able to see what the Justice Department is doing. I hate you. I don't want you here.
It is a fact, and this is embarrassing for Howard, but more people will watch this program tonight than listen to his program tomorrow. Again, he was the Johnny Carson of the media, radio and television and Sirius XM at one point not that long ago. So in just 9 months' time since the election, Donald Trump has finally broken the fake news, a project that started in 2015. He has exposed them for what they are and what they have always been to you, to millions of people just like you. And the media landscape, as a result, is changed forever. It will never be the same, meaning people like Gayle King will now have a lot more time to spend in outer space while we continue to try our best to report the news as it happens, honestly and without apology.
I gotta say, bravo, Finity. That is one of the best videos I've seen out there when it comes to the fake news on Newsmax. If you haven't watched them before, check them out. I used to watch them all the time, but being that I work with 3 jobs, it's kind of hard for me to spend time watching news. But, trying to put this stuff together. And as I said, this is the title, Fake News. America's waking up. We're waking up. We're seeing the bullshit. Everybody's seeing the bullshit. And I'm so glad that these assholes are just, they're falling. They're caving. They're done. They're done. The fake news is done. So, as I was saying the other day, all this shit about the Russia hoax, all this nonsense, for years they were saying how Trump was a puppet to Putin. It's all been lies. And it's now coming out. We've known it all along, us on the right side, not the wrong side. I'm not saying conservative Republican, I'm saying the right side, mostly because of social media. Everything the liberal media has said over the last 10 years should be nullified. Everything. Nothing. Even when they're talking about weather, don't believe them. They're lying. All the acronyms with major poop and shit, crap, mierda on all their faces. It is what it is. Fake news. And it's always been that, especially since Trump came down the escalator. You already know. Anyway, thanks for watching my video. If you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe. Please stay true to the red, white, and blue. Hope you enjoyed my show. Write me. Let me know what's up. Yesterday, I apologize. There was a moment where I forgot to turn the mic on. I tried not to turn it off today. Tried. I did for a second because I had to stand up and shit, and I went to my rickety chair. But as I said, my email's in the description. Write me. Threaten me. Do what you want. Still a free country. Thanks to the fake news. I love what's going on. Every time I hear one of these fake news people fall, it's enjoyable. It's glorious. Love this shit. Who's next? Yeah. Anyway, as I said, love you. Check me out tomorrow. I'm going to be making some changes soon, because there are times where, like literally today, I woke up today and I was like, shit, I was so busy yesterday running around. My car broke down. I had to walk 5 miles to my car to see if it started, and it didn't. Got a good walk, got a good workout, got to be a little sunburned because I'm in Florida, and like the sun's like right there. Yeah, anyway, life sucks. But it is what it is. Thanks, guys. Again, see you tomorrow. Not sure what I'm going to talk about. And where the world sucked. Got to repeat it. You already know. Liz!